MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're brought to you by IP Vanish. IP Vanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering 70% off if you go to ipvanish.com/SGP. That's ipvanish.com/SGP. And make sure to check our new Discord server, the perfect place to interact and sweat bets with the entire SGPN crew. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I am coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne, northeast corner of England, where it's been a delightful old day today. It is Tuesday, August the 2nd. We are here to handicap the slate of MLB games for Wednesday, August the 3rd. It is also, as if you didn't know, trade deadline day. At the time we're recording, if you're joining us live, you'll know. If you're listening to us tomorrow, we've got 9 minutes left of trade deadline day. So lots of stuff to talk about. But first, I will introduce my co-host tonight. Coming to us from, I believe it's Maryland, Mr. Dylan Rockford. Dylan, how are you doing?
Good, Malcolm. Good to be with you. I'm actually home in Jersey, but just wearing a Maryland shirt. Got some ties over there. Yeah,
I didn't even notice that. I was guessing.
Yeah, I did a little switcheroo. But yeah, scorcher over here on the East Coast. Just waiting for my Mets to make a splash, but we've just been sitting here.
They've done okay. Darren Ruff came aboard today.
Yeah, he hits lefties really well. I think that's what we needed. But I've been harping on this. We need a lefty out of the bullpen. And Robinson, he left, and I don't know who to get now. I mean, there's only 8 minutes left. There's still some talk about Wilson Contreras because maybe we need a right-handed bat from the Cubs. I don't know if he gets dealt, but if he does, I think it'd be a perfect fit.
What we've decided to do with these trades is we're going to go game by game as we always do. Instead of covering all the trades at the top of the show, we will cover the trades by each team as we get to their game for tomorrow. So that's what we'll do as we go down the card. We'll talk about any big and maybe not so big. And hopefully something might happen in the next 7 minutes. We might have something fun for you as well. I was amongst the RBIs on Sunday, Dylan, for the Newcastle Nighthawks. Did this news reach the East Coast of America?
No, I saw the picture, though. You guys look dialed in. How many ribbies did you have?
It was only one. I played the first game of the doubleheader. Batted 9 again. There's no lead off. Like I say, I've made my way down to 9th in the order. Struck out looking, walked in my second plate appearance, and then whoosh, line drive into centre field for 1 run, came home, and I made my merry way to first. I think I stole second and then ended the inning before I got any further. But yeah, that was fun.
Had a boy, got the wheels too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. The 46-year-old. I played second base as well. I think that was the first time I played there this season. They've been parking me out in right field where I can't cause any trouble. I was. No, I took one little pop fly, which it seemed like it was in the air for about an hour and 3/4 while I stood underneath it panicking. But I made the grab, Dylan. I made the grab. Don't you worry about that. Sent him back. I said, ride some pine. Batter is what I shouted in my mind. So yeah, that was fun. Very much enjoyed that. Right, okay, let's get on to some actual real baseball for Wednesday, August the 3rd. We have lots of day baseball tomorrow. Must be a getaway day, is it? Well, about half and half. And we've got 3 or 4 games maybe off the board, a couple of DBD pitches, but not too bad. We've got at least double figures where we know all the information. The first game tomorrow is off the board at the minute, although I do think we have both pitches. It's the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays, which is Yusei Kikuchi, left-handed pitcher. I've got Ryan Yarbrough going for the Rays, although that is the one that's not official. And that is the reason where there are no lines so far at the moment. Kikuchi is 4-5, has a 4.89 ERA, 70 innings pitched, 79 strikeouts. Yarbrough 0-6, 5.11 ERA, 49 in a third and 34 strikeouts. Toronto, the team that have been kind of notably absent from any big trade activity. They picked up a couple of bullpen arms earlier today. Was it Zach Pop and Anthony Bass from Miami? They picked those two up. I think Anthony Bass is making his way back to Toronto. He's played there before. And Zach Pop is actually quite an interesting figure, as well as having a great name. They sent a rookie shortstop, or a prospect, Jordan Groshans, went down to Tampa for that one. Johnny Junta has been doing his dinger. He's been in full flight on Twitter, waiting for Toronto to make a trade. So, yeah, they've been surprisingly quiet because you thought really they had a chance. So, this game tomorrow, it's two struggling pitchers, really. Kikuchi has a 5.12 ERA in his last 5, including his last 2 road starts, which have been absolutely horrible. 4.1 innings and 6 earned runs in those last 2 starts. A couple of two inning starts there before he's got the hook. He's also got a 5.93 road ERA. Yarbrough hasn't been an awful lot better. His last 3 actually haven't been as bad, but all his other numbers are rather uninspiring. So without a total, I am unable to give you a proper bet, but what I've written down is the over. And Dylan, you might be able to give us what you thought the number might be.
Yeah, so for this game, I think we see a high-scoring game. I set my total at 8.7. So, wow. I mean, we do have some high-scoring games in against these two teams. First one, 7-3, 11-5, 6-2, 9-2. So, some pretty high-scoring games. I just don't know if I could back Yarbrough in this spot. Depending on the price that opens up, I know you say Kikuchi. Great name, by the way. I don't know if I'd be able to back him either. I don't know if we get like a 7.5, 8, I'll be with you. I'll probably smash the over as well.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and not much we've got to go on. While we're on these two sides, though, Dylan, and the trade deadline, nothing much to report for either team, really. Bit of a head scratcher, this one.
Yeah, no teams did anything, and I'm surprised. Like you said, the Blue Jays had an opportunity to go improve their bullpen, get some pieces, and they just didn't. So head scratcher there. It's 2 minutes, so maybe they could do something in 2 minutes.
12:20 Eastern. First pitch is the Philadelphia Phillies at the Atlanta Braves. Zach Wheeler goes for Philadelphia, and Charlie Morton, Uncle Charlie, is on the hill for Atlanta. Philly are plus 121. Atlanta minus 139. Totally it's 7.5. And this one is over to you, Dylan.
Yeah, speaking about the Phillies, they just acquired Noah Syndergaard from the Angels.
Oh, wow.
Within the last minute or two. So they're making moves, the Phillies. They're only, I think, 7.5, 8 back of the Mets, only like 3-4 out of the wild card. So they're pushing. They got Robinson as well from the Cubs. So they're trying, not like the Mets. But for this game, I'm going to go over 7.5. Small play for me. I don't want to back either side in this game, but I do think we see some runs here. I made my total 7.8. It's gonna be a hot one in Atlanta tomorrow. We got winds blowing out of center field. The Phillies are hot right now. They've rattled off 5 wins in a row, and 3 of those 5 have gone over the number. Now, the last 5 games between these two have been really high-scoring games. 4 of the last 5 games, they've skyrocketed over this number. So this is just going to be a fade on both pitchers. Both have been too inconsistent for my liking. And I think they have a tendency of giving up a few runs. So I think we see a higher scoring game here. So over 7.5.
Yeah, I leaned a little bit towards Philly in this game, actually. I just trust Wheeler more than I trust Morton. And this Phillies lineup is okay. They're capable of putting a win together against a decent side. Atlanta, both clubs are going to have players coming and going. That's the thing with these lineups. When these trades get done today, Dylan, the majority of these players are going to go straight into the lineup tomorrow, or will there be a little bit of adjustment settling in time, or do they just bang straight in?
I think it'd be a few days unless the pitchers, I think, because you saw with Luis Castillo, he's going tomorrow, but he got traded Friday night or Saturday night. So it's going to be a few days, I think, for pitchers. For everyday players, I think they could just jump right in, don't you?
Yeah, I don't see why not. You'd think it. In fact, it would probably benefit them to do so. So we'll probably have a few different faces kicking around. But yeah, I thought Philly were a reasonable price here. Not much. The Atlanta are a better side, but I think the presence of Wheeler against Morton maybe just balances that up ever so slightly. And at a plus price, plus 125, I'm happy to take the Phillies in that spot. Next up, 105 Eastern. And you just mentioned him. It's the Seattle Mariners against the New York Yankees, and it is Luis Castillo going for the Mariners. Garrett Cole will go for the New York Yankees. The lines are Seattle plus 147. The Yankees are minus 170. Totally is set at 7.5. A little bit of Yankees movement in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Jordan Montgomery has left the New York Yankees and gone to the Cardinals. Obviously, he was the odd man out after they've acquired Frankie Montas in that rotation. Return not yet known for that one. But yeah, left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery goes to the Yankees around about 7 minutes ago. So breaking news as it happens here. Castillo tomorrow then. I'll take you through the numbers, but obviously it's just an unusual situation here, and we'll discuss what difference we think that might make. He's 4-4 on the season with a 2.86 ERA. Has pitched 85 innings with 90 strikeouts. Garrett Cole is 9-3, 3.30 ERA, 125 and 1/3 pitch with 162 strikeouts. So yeah, what do you get from Castillo? Do you take him on his current form, or do you take him on his expectations and the last few days that he's had and how ready he'll be to go out there? I think really everything I looked at, you have to trust him. I think he's done enough. His numbers are stellar recently. He's done enough to earn our trust that he can go out there tomorrow and put in a good performance. He's got a 1.86 ERA in his last 5 starts. Has pitched against the Yankees this season. Only gave up 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched. He has a 2.09 road ERA. So yeah, unless there's something that unsettles him and he takes a little while to find his feet, I think he's earned my trust anyway. Garrett Cole has got a 4.22 in his last 5. 4 of his last 5 starts have earned runs. He's gone 5, 3, 2, and 5. So yeah, slightly wobblier than he has been. Home ERA of 2.55. The total ERA is low, understandably so. But I think I'm in on the total here. It's 7.5. I'm interested to see what you make it. And one more Yankees like to mention. No Joey Gallo on this lineup anymore. Made his way to the Dodgers, which was a bit of an odd one. I will maybe talk about that when we get down to the Dodgers in a little while. But yeah, so Castillo's recent form against what you expect him to do tomorrow, Dylan.
Yeah, so I'm going the same way. I'm going under 7.5. I can't wait to watch this game. Honestly, Luis Castillo is making his debut for the Mariners against the Yankees. Castillo actually has been better on the road than at home this season, and he just faced the Yankees before All-Star break, and he was lights out. 7 strong innings, only gave up 1 run. Batters are only hitting 188 off of him on the road. So I agree. I think Mariners are live dogs here, but I think we see another low-scoring game. So I'm going to dive under 7.5. I made my total 6.7.
Okay, 6.7. Yeah, nice enough. So we've got most of a run to play with there. It's with the line at 7.5. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm really excited. There's some good day baseball tomorrow, and I have pretty much cleared my schedule. I had some little jobs to do today. I know you were taking the car to get fixed and stuff today. I had some little jobs to do, and I got them done. And I'm a very lazy man, but I got my head on, and I with one eye on these games tomorrow. I thought, get them done today, son, and then you can sit down and chill tomorrow, which is exactly what I'm going to do. 1:10 Eastern first pitch is the Arizona Diamondbacks at the Cleveland Guardians. This one is off the board at the moment with a TBD pitcher for Arizona. I believe it's Madison Bumgarner going for the D-backs with Shane Bieber going for Cleveland. No lines I've seen on this one. No, still no lines up there. So not an awful lot, but Dylan, is it Bumgarner v. Bieber for you?
I couldn't even find a pitcher for the D.
Okay.
But I do have Shane Bieber going, and I expect, regardless of who comes out, I do expect them to open up as the favorite at home. So I'll probably be with the Guardians here.
Yeah, not an awful lot of trade deadline stuff from either of those. I suppose the headline for out of Cleveland is that they've held on to everyone really. When it was certainly at the start of the season, we weren't sure where the likes of Jose Ramirez were going to end up. But yeah,
I think they actually got him at a discounted rate. They signed him in the beginning of the season. I think right before the season started, what was it, like $100 million or something? And
yeah,
the way he's playing, I think they got him at a discounted rate. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely agree. Sandy Leon, the backup catcher, has left, gone to Minnesota. But yeah, nothing that's warranting any lengthy conversation here. We will move on to a 1:10 Eastern first pitch between the Detroit Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. Tyler Alexander, left-handed pitcher, goes for Detroit. And Joe Ryan goes for the Minnesota Twins, who are prohibitive -227 favorites. Detroit are +192. Total here is set at 8.5. Alexander is 2-4, 4.10 ERA. Has pitched 37 1/3 with 19 strikeouts. Ryan 7-4, 3.78 ERA, 85 2/3, 80 strikeouts. Alexander's ERA is okay in his last 5. He's kind of been in a long relief role, really, or an opener role. He goes maybe 3 innings. He's not much of a sample size, but equally, there's no real reason to be optimistic about him either. What he's done, he hasn't showed flashes that you think, yeah, there's a good start here. There's a good lengthy start. He's going to pitch a few innings. He's going to give up a couple of runs, is what's going to happen. Ryan, on the other hand, I think I locked him up in his last start 5 days ago, and he promptly gave up 10 earned runs against the San Diego Padres. Before that, he's been absolutely great, and I'm fully prepared to ignore that start. I think he's earned 1 life, and he used that up last week against San Diego. He's got a 3.05 home ERA. He has pitched 12 2/3 against Detroit already this season. His ERA in that span has been 0.71. I'm just not in on Detroit at all. They've let Grossman go, which doesn't really mean a lot because he wasn't doing anything in the first place. The Twins have been relatively busy, actually, Dylan. But for me, this was Minnesota run line. I'm in on Ryan. I'm out on the Tigers, and I think they can. I think they can beat them comfortably in this spot. Ryan can get back on track after that horror show last week at San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me the Twins on the run line here. I got it at +102. Any sort of plus price, I think, is good value here with the Twins. They are dealing with some injuries, but like you said, they've added a lot of pieces at this trade deadline. But I agree. I think they have the pitching advantage here with Joe Ryan on the mound. Besides that one poor start in San Diego, I think he's been really solid for the Twins this season. He's won his last 3 starts at home, and he's also faced the Tigers, like you said, twice this year. He's 2-0. He's only given up 1 run in those 12 innings. So I think he knows this team. He knows the familiarity with them, and the Twins have also won the last 3 meetings between the two. So all in all the signs are pointing to the Twins. I think they roll them here. So give me the Twins on the run line here.
Yeah, the couple of interesting additions for the Twins were Tyler Marley, who's come in from the Reds. He's got his last 9 starts. He's racked up a 2.83 ERA, which is absolutely outstanding. And then Jorge Lopez from the Orioles, an all-star closer this year. So yeah, decent business there from Minnesota. Very quiet, but relatively effective business. So yeah, they can get that win tomorrow for us. So can get it pretty comfortably against a very poor Detroit Tigers team. The place to find all of our lines here tonight, as always, is the headline sponsor on the MLB Gambling Podcast, which is WinBet. If you are thinking of joining WinBet, now is the perfect time. Customers who bet $100 will get a $100 free bet if you're betting baseball, it is by far the best place to do that. They have reduced juice in baseball games as well. The WinBet Casino is open 24 hours. You can get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Loads to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. So they know that we sent you. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And don't forget to check out the Discord server. The MLB channel on there is going absolutely berserk with all this trade talk at the minute. It's a spot-on place to get involved, sweat your bets out with the rest of the SGP and crew. All the names and faces are on there. Everyone you need to know. Some very sharp minds and some very funny men as well. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord is the place to be there. Next up, down the board is 2:05 Eastern. The Baltimore Orioles at the Texas Rangers. Kyle Bradish, right-handed pitcher for Baltimore, and the lefty Martin Perez goes for Texas. Baltimore are plus 135 on the road. Texas minus 158. Tolia is set at 8. And I'll throw this across to you, Dylan. Interesting game. Baltimore still rolling.
Yeah, no, they're still rolling, but the lines are just too high for me right now. One thing I do want to mention before I get into my handicap, I don't understand why the Orioles traded Mancini, Lopez. Like they're in the thick of things, and then they just trade away their best players. I don't know. It's hard for a fan base just because I know a lot of fans down in the DMV Baltimore area. They're just confused. Like they actually had hope, not of like the playoffs or anything, but they're decent. They're not too far back of the wild card. So I'll ask this to you, Malcolm. Why do you think they traded Mancini? Did they not have hope that they could re-sign him?
Yeah, that was the one. The Lopez thing doesn't really bother me. He's a closer. They've got Batista, I think, in step straight in. And the closer carousels notorious. He's replaced. But yeah, the Mancini, and it did seem to be expected. It wasn't a surprise move. Everyone kind of knew it was coming for quite a while, but maybe the front office know that they've overachieved, and I don't think they're that close. The numbers tell you different this, but they're still way off really in that division. If they can pick up 4 or 5 pieces, the starters this season have been great.
Yeah,
I know we've got Kyle Bradish going tomorrow, but then Spencer Watkins, Dean Kramer, people we've talked about. We've got John Means to come back off the IL. So yeah. So I think slowly catch your monkey for the Baltimore Orioles and playing a bit of a longer term game and maybe moving Mancini on if we do get some decent pieces for him. I don't mind it. It's not a terrible move because I know you're saying they're right in it, but I'm not really sure that they are.
Yeah, you're right. I do think regression is coming, but I don't know. The ballpark, from my friends were telling me down there in Maryland, people are starting to come. People are starting to feel alive, and it's a great city. So, and then they trade away their best player after Mancini beat cancer. It's like it's a great story. So I just didn't like to see him go, but now he's with the Astros, so sucks. But as for this game, I do like the Rangers in this spot with Martin Perez, another guy that was rumored to be on the move, but he stays. I just wish I could get a minus 140 or better with them. So maybe you could add them in a money line parlay of your choosing. But I want to see what the first 5 lines come out because I think the Rangers will jump all over Kyle Bradish. The Orioles, like I just mentioned, they lost their best player. So I don't know where their offense is going to come from. If the price is good, I'm probably going to be on the Rangers for 5 minus a half because I think Martin Perez, he's going to deal, and I think they're going to dominate Kyle Bradish. He's just not a guy you want to
back. Now, you say I came down on the other side of this. Bradish came up, and there was quite a lot of talk about him. He started okay, maybe 1 or 2 starts, and then he dropped off a little bit and was sent down. And he's only been back for 1 start this time. He pitched okay, gave up 2 earned runs against Cincinnati. But I think he's more than capable. And I like how the Orioles have been playing. Like you said, they've been doing okay. So I took the two angles I've got here were it's going to be a low scoring game, I think. In which case, I always like to take the dog on the run line. So I picked out the Baltimore money line at plus 140, and then the Baltimore run line, which is minus 154, because I do think this is going to be a low scoring game. So yeah, I was happy with the Orioles, the Rangers in this one. A bit more breaking news. The Blue Jays did do some business, Dylan. 11 minutes ago, they picked up Whit Merrifield from the Kansas City Royals. Yeah, very good. Well, theoretically, a very good bits and bobs player. Whit Merrifield hits, steals bases, great defender. Has had a really poor season. So maybe it was a good bit of buy low business for the Toronto Blue Jays. So at least they've done something that might just appease our friend Johnny Junta. Talked him down off that ledge where he's been perched for the last 24 hours or so. Next up is the Boston Red Sox at the Houston Astros, which is a 2:10 first pitch. Officially a TBD pitcher. I didn't have anybody. You gave me offline at the top of the show Brian Bello, my guy Brian Bello. But I didn't see him when I was handicapping earlier. And Jose Urquidy will be the man who pitches for Houston. Munaf has gone to the game tonight. He was asking me whether because he's a Red Sox fan and he lives in Houston, he didn't know whether to wear his Altuve shirt or his Boston Red Sox shirt. So he's putting one on underneath the other one just in case he needs to change loyalty halfway through the game. You know, he's like glory hunter. So I've got no lines for this one without an official pitcher. Urquidy, 9-4, 386 ERA, pitched 107 in the third with 80 strikeouts. 264 home ERA, been going along really nice. Has had one start against Boston. They did get to him a little bit, 4 earned runs over 5 innings pitched. But yeah, nothing to tell you much about this one. Brian Bello, we know, has been struggling, if indeed he is going to pitch tomorrow for Boston. I do like him. But yeah, certainly I want to see a start or two where he begins to put it together before I get back to backing him. But yeah, nothing much on this without any lines. Dylan, Boston at Houston, strong opinions on this?
No, just Bello's just an automatic fade for me right now. So I'd imagine the Houston, they'll probably open up a big favorite, maybe minus 180, minus 190. So yeah, that's probably where I'd see. I don't see any value on them unless you take them on the run line, but they haven't been the best on the run line at home. So I don't know if I'd back Houston either on the run line. And Houston plays a lot of low scoring games at home. So maybe look towards the under. As for the total, I set it a little high just because I personally think they're going to hit Bello. I set it at 8.9, and that's usually high for an actual game. So those are my only thoughts for right now.
Yeah, fair enough. David's been in the chat saying that Whit Merrifield's not vaxxed.
You imagine he has to get vaxxed.
Yeah, they need to sort that out, unless they're just going to play him on the road. Give him a few days off. So yeah, I assume someone addressed that problem before they made that trade. Otherwise, there's going to be some conversations to be had. 2:10 Eastern first pitch. We will get to these Kansas City Royals who take on the Chicago White Sox, where Brady Singer will pitch for Kansas City, and Lance Lynn goes to the Chicago White Sox. The lines are the Chicago White Sox are minus 169, Kansas City plus 144. Totally a set at 8.5. I can't remember off the top of my head any trades that either of these two clubs have been involved in. Certainly no big ones, Dylan, for Kansas.
The
White Sox. Yeah, I'm surprised at the White Sox. They're a bit like Toronto. They're the ones who really look like they needed strengthening.
Yeah, the White Sox, they did trade their catcher to the Red Sox because Christian Velasquez.
Oh, McGuire, yes. Yeah, Reese McGuire left, yeah.
That's the only thing that I've really, really found out about the trade deadline. No one really did much. But as for this game, before I get into that, did you see the video of Tony La Russa falling asleep in the
Yes, I did. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
he's an embarrassment
in the first inning as well. I mean, by all means, have a little nap in the 6th inning. That's fully understandable. Not in the 1st inning. At least watch the 1st inning if you're going to have a kip.
Oh, my God. I'm surprised he still has a job, to be honest. So, as for this game, there's a way I could back Lance Lynn or the White Sox at this number. Don't get me wrong. I did make them the favorite, but only up to a -110 at plus 140 and better. I think there's great value here with the Royals. The White Sox are an under 500 team at home, and the Royals have actually won the last 3 of the 5 meetings between the teams. I know they're having a bad year, but Brady Singer hasn't been that bad on the road. His last start against the Yankees on the road, he went 7 scoreless innings, and that's apparently to the best offense in the league. So in this spot, I think he'll be able to hold his own against the White Sox, who they're struggling to score runs. Royals first 5 plus a half is the play for me.
Absolutely agree with you. I think the value is with Kansas City. I quite like the under because Singer's been going along great. Lynn's been going not too bad, but Brady Singer's just in really, really good form. It's nothing more complicated than that. He's got a 2.05 ERA in his last 5. He's pitched 9 innings against the White Sox this season without giving up a run. So, yeah, just that you mentioned that New York Yankees start. So I've really enjoyed what Singer's been doing. He's been well and truly on my radar. I've got KC here at plus 140 on the money line. Actually, plus 144 now. I think it's a great bet. And possibly the under. White Sox aren't scoring many runs. They're missing Lewis Roberts, who I think is going to be out longer than they're letting on. The silence is deafening around Lewis Robert at the moment. So, yeah, for me, the 8.5 looks high. So I'll happily take the under on that one.
Real quick, Malcolm, the lines just opened up for the Boston Red Sox and Astros game. Boston plus 188 underdogs and Houston minus 225 favorite. Over under is at 8.5.
So, will we take that under 8.5 then, won't we?
Yeah, I'll probably take 8.5.
With old Brian on the mound. Whoa, maybe just ignore that. We'll ignore that game. We'll pretend that's not happening. Okay. What we'll do is we'll get stuck into this one. What a beauty. The Cincinnati Reds at the moment. Oh, hang on. Have I forgot the Mets again?
Again.
Yay! One for Jeff Fox. Mark that off your bingo card, son. Back to the top. I remembered, though. 4:05 Eastern first pitch is the New York Mets at the Washington Nationals. Chris Bassett will go for the New York Mets, and Anibal Sanchez will go for the Washington Nationals. The Mets are short, minus 235. The Nationals are nearly 2-1, plus 196. Total is 9.5. Chris Bassett is 7-7 with a 3.83 ERA. He's pitched 115 innings with 117 strikeouts. Anibal Sanchez is 0-3, a 7.47 ERA. Pitched 15 2/3 innings with 13 strikeouts. Bassett going along fine, 3.34 ERA in his last 5. Pitched 6 innings against Washington already this season without giving up any runs. He has been slightly worse on the road. He's got a 4.83 road ERA. I'm laughing at my own note here. Sanchez is rubbish, is what I've got written down. Sanchez is rubbish, Nats are rubbish. You're getting some high level delving, a deep dive here, high level analysis. Everyone's rubbish. And obviously, they have lost Juan Soto as well. So everything points to a New York Mets run line here. I just couldn't get away from this. It's not very original. I'm not going to win any prizes. That minus 1.5 is at minus 135, which looks perfectly fair to me. The Mets don't care. They're going to keep on rolling. First of all, you can tell us about, I don't know if you want to, we don't need to tackle Juan Soto now. We can tackle Soto when we get to the Padres later. So you can tell us just about the bits and bobs of business that the Mets have done, and then give us a pick for this game, Dylan.
Yeah, so they acquired Ruff for JD Martinez and a bunch of prospects as well. We gave up a lot for this guy, but he hits lefties really well, and I think that's a great addition to Vogelbach, Taylor Naquin, and the Mets just acquired right-handed reliever Mikael Givens from the Cubs.
Yes.
He's having a good year. 40 2/3 inning. He has a 2.66 ERA. So Not the lefty that I wanted, but we needed some bullpen help. So I think that it's not as much as I wanted, obviously, but
well, no, because last week every name we mentioned, you were just arrogantly waving your arms around as if it was a done deal, and the Mets were going to sign everybody. Well, they haven't, Dylan. Sorry.
No, they didn't. But as for this, as for this game, like you, short and sweet. Mets -1.5. They just lost Juan Soto and Josh Bell, another one of their top stars. So I don't know where their runs are going to come from. I know they got Luke Voigt, but he's not having the best season as well.
No.
So Bassett, he's been pretty good on the road this season. 5-2, you're right. ERA is a little higher than I'd like, but he's been able to win his last 3 starts on the road. The Mets, they've won the last 5 meetings between these two teams, and they've won by 3 or more runs. So they're on fire right now. I think they sweep the Nationals. So give me the Mets on the run line here.
Yeah, Mets gave up J.D. Davis as well, who's a player I've always liked.
I think it's good for him, though. He's close to home, and he's getting an opportunity to play every day. He wasn't getting that opportunity.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it was playing time. It's always been playing time with J.D. Davis, and he does deserve. I'd like to see him in an everyday role because I think he'll put some numbers up. But yeah, he's just always found somebody blocking his path there in New York. 6 more games to handicap here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. But I'm going to tell you about IP Vanish. IP Vanish, the VPN, the official VPN of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. IP Vanish will protect all your private data, keeping it away from hackers, advertisers, other prying eyes, by encrypting 100% of that data. Things like private details, passwords, communications, browsing history, and even your physical location will be hidden. IP Vanish will make you virtually invisible online. You can use IP Vanish on unlimited devices, even on your Fire Stick when you're streaming stuff. It will not slow you down even a little bit. And IP Vanish are offering 70% off the yearly plan with a 30-day money-back guarantee, the equivalent of getting 9 months for free. IP Vanish is super easy to use. One button, you're instantly covered. So take your privacy back today with the brand rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Go to ipvanish.com/SGP and use that promo code SGP. Claim your 70% savings. That's ipvanish.com/SGP. Next, 6:40 Eastern. We are into the evening slate of games. Tomorrow it's the Cincinnati Reds at the Miami Marlins. Mike Minor, left-handed pitcher, goes for Cincinnati. And Sandy Alcantara is on the hill for Miami. Miami are -210. Don't often see the Marlins at that price. Cincinnati at +176. Total errors set at 7. Mike Minor is 1-7, has a 6.31 ERA. Has pitched 51 1/3 with 45 strikeouts. Sandy Alcantara is 9-4, has a 1.99 ERA in 149 1/3 innings with 138 punch-outs. Minor, he's just not very good, is he? 4.91 in his last 5 on the road. Stop laughing, Dylan. 6.46 road ERA. Just nothing. You try and look for an angle in. If there's a bad team or a bad pitcher or a big price, I'll try and find an angle into that big price. Say, how can I, what would make me want to take this +176 on Cincinnati? And there wasn't anything. There was no angle in. On the flip side of that, a big part of that being Sandy Alcantara. 2.67 ERA in his last 5. He's got a 1.57 ERA against NL Central teams. That quite poor division, frankly. And that's a decent sample size as well. 23 innings he's pitched against NL Central teams with that stellar ERA. This is a spot really where Miami and Alcantara can take advantage against a poor pitcher in a relatively weak Cincinnati. I like taking Cincinnati in certain spots, but not tomorrow. But it's got to be on the run line, unfortunately. I had them at +112. Actually, I can see a +115. Low scoring game, but Miami can just come out on top. Maybe 4-1, something like that. I think, Dylan.
Yeah, I think there are certain spots that you can find value with the Reds. Like yesterday, I took Hunter Green, and I always fade Hunter Green, but I thought it was a good spot for them, and I did come up with a nice plus price. But Going with another plus price here, I'm going to take the Fish. Same thing as you on the run line. I think we're getting a very generous price with a much better pitcher in Alcantara. I know the Marlins haven't been playing some good baseball, but I think this is a good spot for them. I think Alcantara bounces back after a tough loss to the Mets in his last start. But to be honest, I agree with you. I think this is just a fade on Mike Minor, who in his 9 starts this season has lost 8 of his 9. He's only won 1 start this season. He's like Bello to me. He's just an automatic fade. So give me the Fish here to get back in the win column.
Leave Bello alone. He's gonna come good, man. We're gonna get some fancy price wins out of Brian Bello between now and the end of the season, Dylan. Mark my words. 7:05 Eastern first pitch between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Freddie Peralta is going for Milwaukee. Now I handicapped this earlier on with Brandon Woodruff on the mound, so I don't know where that's going to leave us here. Zach Thompson goes for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The lines haven't changed an awful lot, actually, in lieu of that news. The Brewers minus 205. Quite a lot of 2-1 on favourites going tonight. Chalky slate. The Pirates plus 172. Total here is set at 8. I can tell you about Zach Thompson more than I can tell you about Freddie Peralta. Zach Thompson is 3-8, has a 5.09 ERA, has pitched 81 and 1/3 innings with 55 strikeouts. This is Peralta's. It's not Peralta's first start of the season. He has, he's appeared. So let me have a look. He's actually appeared in 8 games this season. He got 3 starts back in May. 22nd of May was the last time Freddie Peralta was seen. He got absolutely smashed up by the Washington Nationals. Obviously, something was amiss. He's been on the IL since then. So, yeah, interesting, Freddie Peralta. 3-2 on the season, 4.42 ERA, has pitched 38 and 2/3 with 50 strikeouts. He's always good for a strikeout, is Freddie Peralta. I mean, difficult one this because you have to maintain. You can't be taking a 2-1 on price against a pitcher that you really want to maintain a watching brief on in his first start from injury. Zach Thompson has got a 6.33 ERA in his last 5. In fact, this doesn't affect my handicap at all because I was having to take the over here. I think Pittsburgh could have got 3 or 4 off Woodruff. I think they can probably do the same off Peralta. And then the rest of the Brewers pen, minus Josh Hader, of course. And Brewers can certainly take advantage of the presence of Zach Thompson scoring some runs. So that number of 8 looked great to me, and I will take the over every day of the week. Tell us a little bit what you made of the Josh Hader trade, Dylan, and then give us a bet for the Brewers at the Pirates.
I was confused as well as to why they're. I know Josh Hader hasn't been, the regular Josh Hader that we've been accustomed to, but they're right in the thick of things. They're leading the division. That move was very curious to me. I just don't understand why they traded him when they were right there. So it was very confusing to me. I didn't understand it, but as for this game, nothing official. I do lean Brewers here on the run line. I just don't know what to make of Freddie Peralta. He's been out since May 22nd. And usually when players make a comeback, I like to fade them, not tonight with the Grom pitching, but I just like to fade them to see what we're going to get out of him. But against the Pirates, who they're 2-8 in their last 10, like you said, I just think this is a good spot for the Brewers. So the money line is too rich for me, but run line has some value at minus 115, so slight lean there.
Yeah, the biggest trades involving the Pirates was Jose Quintana. We kind of knew he was going to leave. He's had a really good season, a surprisingly good season. He has made his way across to the St. Louis Cardinals from the Pirates. The Cardinals are the team we're going to tackle next. They've been relatively busy. 7:45 Eastern tomorrow is the Chicago Cubs at the St. Louis Cardinals, where Justin Steele, got his name right first time, will go over the Chicago Cubs, and Miles Mikolas will go over the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs here are plus 156 with St. Louis minus 182. Total set at 8. Steele is 4-7, is a 3.86 ERA. Has pitched 91 innings with 87 strikeouts. Miles Mikolas is 8-8, 2.86 ERA. Wow, that's good. 132 and 1/3 pitched with 100 strikeouts. Steele, we know he's been my guy recently, and I think you've been fading him a lot, Dylan. I need you to revisit this. 2.05 ERA in his last 5 starts, Justin Steele. Pitched against St. Louis, 7 innings, gave up 1 earned run just. Mikolas has been going along really well. He's actually given up 5 earned runs in 11 innings pitched against the Cubs. He's been great at home, 2.31 home ERA. I really wanted to take the Cubs, but I feel like I've been taking them too much lately. So I wanted to get Steele and the Cubs involved. I couldn't take them as a money line, but I could take the under. I still think Steele's going to go okay. At which point I was happy to take the under. This Cubs lineup still isn't great either. So yeah, if they won't score many, and if St. Louis beat them, it'll be low scoring, maybe a 4-2, something like that, Dylan.
Yeah, I do. That would be the only play I would make in this game. Is the under. I set my total at 7.6, but for the show, I'll agree with you for the under. But I want no parts in this game. I don't want to back the Cardinals at this price. The Cubs, they've actually been playing some decent ball as of late, but I don't know how I don't know how you play them when Mikolas is 2-0 against the Cubbies this year. I do think the Cardinals are the better team and they should win. I just can't get behind this price. I was hoping for a -140, -145. A little chalky, but I think that's great value for the way Mikolas has been pitching this year. So I don't know. Even the run line, I need at least a +130. We're getting close. It's like +125, +126, I see. So maybe this is another game where you just want to add the Cardinals in your money line parlay. So that's how I would play
it. Again, more trade stuff. The window's been closed now about 37 minutes. I've seen the Braves picked up Raisel Iglesias. Nice. Angels closer. Tucker Davidson's actually gone in the other direction. That's interesting. I might have written up Tucker Davidson in my rookie report as a potential trade candidate last week. So I'm going to double check that because I might have hit one. The Blue Jays acquiring Whit Merrifield. Mentioned the Cardinals have acquired Jordan Montgomery from the Yankees, and Harrison Bader has gone in the other direction. That's an interesting one. He's a fun player, Harrison Bader. So he'll end up on the Yankees as well. That's about it, really. Jake Lamb to the Mariners, Brett Phillips to the Orioles, Michael Fulmer to the Twins. So a few more slightly under the radar ones there. And the Cardinals, who we've just mentioned, picked up catcher Austin Allen as well, who I'm quite a big fan of. So yeah, some smaller trades, shall we say, have gone on there in the last few minutes. 3 more games, 9:38 Eastern first pitch. It's the Oakland Athletics at the LA Angels. This was a TBD pitcher for Oakland. This game is still off the board unless it's updated in the last 20 minutes or so. Nothing for Oakland, although you alerted me to the fact that James Kaprielian might be going, and Shohei Ohtani goes for the LA Angels. I've got nothing on Kaprielian at the moment. Ohtani 9-6, 2.81 ERA, 99 and 1/3 pitched with 102 strikeouts. Sorry, 102 whip that. Ohtani has got a 1.80 ERA in his last 7, and that includes that start at Atlanta where he gave up 6 earned runs. Double-digit Ks. Again, we know Noah's been hammering those Shohei Ohtani K props in his last few starts. I think he picked up 11 again last time. We talked about the ladder bets where you can take the over. It's 7.5 or 8, but then take it up to 9.5, 10.5, 11.5. Split your unit 3 ways and see if you can hit the jackpot that way. And Shohei would be getting you over that one. I didn't have a pick because I hadn't seen Kaprielian and there was no odds on the board. Dylan, do you have anything on this Athletics and Angels game?
Not really. No lines are up. I do have Kaprielian going. I could be wrong though. It's just from my understanding. And you got to imagine Shohei's going to open up a big favorite. I know they traded away some of their pieces today, but the Angels, they've just owned the Athletics. They've won the last 4 of the 5 meetings between the team, all low-scoring games, if is worth noting as well. So that's why I set the total at 6.9. I do think Shohei Ohtani is going to limit them, and maybe a 4-1, 4-2 victory for the Angels, but they're the better team right now. So I would take the Angels here on the run line or the under.
Raisel Iglesias is not going to close for the Braves, is he?
You wouldn't imagine, right? He'd be in like a setup guy, 7th, 8th inning.
Yeah. That is gravely disappointing, the amount of fantasy teams in which Raisel Iglesias is one of my main closers. That's one of the worst things about trade deadline is the closer carousel, because it can absolutely see. Sometimes you get on the right side of it, you can fall. One of your men can fall into a closing situation. But it hasn't happened today with Iglesias for me. 9:40 Eastern first pitch. It's the team we all wanted to talk about. It's the Colorado Rockies, not them, at the San Diego Padres. The other team we wanted to talk about. This game is off the board with no Padres pitcher. I don't know if you've got a Padres pitcher, Dylan, but Chad Kuhl is the man who will go for the Rockies. Game is off the board. I'll throw this straight across to you. I mean, firstly, if you've got anything on this game, but then secondly, what we expecting from the Padres now, having picked up Juan Soto, amongst others. It's not the only business they've done.
Yeah, amazing move. I mean, but I think they're just playing for a wild card. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're still like 10,
absolutely,
games out. So I don't think they're going to win the division. Dodgers are still the better team. I just don't know how they're going to pay all 3 of them. I know Hosmer had the no trade clause. He wound up getting traded to the Red Sox, but Manny Machado, Juan Soto, and Tatis, I forgot because he was hurt. But my thing is, if you have a chance to get Juan Soto, obviously you get him. He's a franchise player. But what if they can't re-sign him? What if they can't get a contract done? If they don't win it, obviously it's not worth it. But if they win a championship, it's worth it in the short term. But I just don't like how their odds have drastically changed off of one player. I still think the Mets, I still think the Dodgers, and I still think the Cardinals are better. So pitching-wise, because those guys have the pitching, I don't think the Padres have the pitching to go up against the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Cardinals. So
they've done nothing to help that pitching situation. I mean, they give up Mackenzie Gore, which isn't going to damage them an awful lot. But they're going to be a lot of high-scoring games, I think, coming down the stretch for the Padres. They could be an overs team. The trade that interested me a lot is the Brandon Drury trade, picked up from the Reds. He's been absolutely outstanding this season. Can play second or third, and that's going to be a very powerful lineup because Drury can hit clean up. And you tag him onto the back of the names you mentioned, Soto, Tatis, and Manny Machado, and that is a potent top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice getting a utility guy that could play second and third because Machado does like to take some games off to get him ready for the playoffs. So put a guy like him at third base. He's been smashing this year. So I thought that was a low key, very underrated move that the Padres made. They bolstered their bullpen and their bats, but their starting pitching I do not trust. Besides Musgrove, they did re-sign Joe Musgrove. What was that? 5-year, $100-something million contract. So he winded up getting paid, but can you trust a guy like Blake Snell? I can't. And that's who I have going for tomorrow.
Okay, actually, well, I forgot there was a game to handicap. I've got nothing on it. I mean, if you got anything else on this on the Rockies Padres, no, we've got no line, so we'll skip over that one. Watching, we can see what that be interesting to see the lineup card when that comes out and see who's in there for San Diego tomorrow. Final game here is a 9:45 Eastern first pitch between the LA Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, where Julio Urias will go for the Dodgers and Alex Cobb draws the start for the San Francisco Giants, who are a home puppy. We haven't had one of them off you tonight, Dylan. Plus 135. The Dodgers at minus 159. Total here is set at 7.5. Urias is 10-6. has a 2.71 ERA, has pitched 109 and 2/3 with 103 strikeouts. Alex Cobb is 3-5, has a 4.06 ERA, has pitched 82 innings with 85 strikeouts. Arias is 4-0 over his last 5 starts, ERA of 2.89 in that span. Has pitched 18 innings against the Giants this season, giving up just 2 earned runs in that spell. 2.49 road ERA. He was just ticking boxes as you went along, starting to handicap a game. Arias was just putting ticks in all the boxes that you want. Cobb's been pitching well of late as well. 3.19 in his last 5. Did give up 4 earned in 5 2/3 against the Dodgers 2 starts ago, and he just has a 5.40 ERA against the NL West in 33 1/3 as well. So quite a large sample size here. I kept this pretty straightforward. Better team, better pitcher. Short price. Price is short enough, but the unit and a half at -159. I had this written down at -155, but I'll take the unit and a half at that price. Easy, Dylan.
Yeah, I do think the Dodgers are the right side in this one, but I'm going to attack the total over 7.5 for me in this one. The Dodgers have gone over this number in 5 straight games, whereas the Giants are 5-5 towards the over in their last 10 games. But when these two teams play, we usually see some high-scoring games. 3 of the last 5 meetings between the two have gone over the number. We're getting help from the wind, 10-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow night in San Francisco. And I just think the Dodgers' bats are rolling right now. I think they'll be able to score 4 or 5 runs against Cobb. And I'm counting on the Giants. I think they'll be able to score 2-3 runs as well. But I think we get there, so give me the over 7.5.
Okay, love that. Well, we did it. That was busy. A lot to talk about. Lock and dog picks coming up momentarily. Once I've told you about our new sponsor here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Odds Trader. Odds Trader is a place where you can compare odds from all major sports books. You can compare different sign-up codes as well for promotions and bonuses to sports books. What a great idea that is. Player stats, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather. So everything you need to make a more informed bet. And who doesn't need more information on that? It's got a bet tracker as well, so you can keep records of all your games and betting activity. So yeah, if you're a true DJ, it looks like everything you need here is at Odds Trader. Play-by-play updates, live scores, player stats. Absolutely outstanding content over there at Odds Trader. The place to go is oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. Odds Trader is the #1 site for all of your game day bets. Really looking forward to getting involved with Odds Trader. Yeah, love it. So, Dylan, lots to choose from here. I was torn between a couple of dogs. There was one lock really stood out to me. You can lead us off. What have you got for your lock and dog tomorrow night, man?
All right, I'll make this short and sweet. As for my lock, I like the Mets -1.5. I just think Chris Bassett is going to dominate against the Nationals. I just don't know where their offense is going to come from tomorrow. So the Mets have owned the Nationals this year. They won the last 5 meetings all by 3 or more runs. So I'm going to take the Mets on the run line -134 as my lock. And as my dog, my official play was Royals first 5+ a half because I think we're going to get good value there. But I'm going to take the Royals +140 or better. You just have to take it. The White Sox, they're not a good team at home, under 500. And to be honest, I think Brady Singer's been better than Lance Lynn this year. So I think if he could go 5-6 innings, maybe give up a run, I think they'll win this game. So I'm going to take the Royals on the money line as my dog of the day.
I think we're going to have a listener poll on who's the biggest homer on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Is it
me.
Is it Ryan Kramer? Is it Sean Green? Is it Dylan Rockford? Is it the Boston Capper? I mean, Dylan Rockford has thrown his name into the hat with a succession of New York Mets picks. My lock is it going to be a run line as well, and it's Minnesota and Joe Ryan taking on Detroit and Tyler Alexander. I just didn't like anything Detroit had to offer in this game at all, from the pitcher, the lineup. And I want to bounce back off Ryan. I think he'll get one. He'll back at home. We can put a line through that last start against the Padres, and they can get that done. Plus 100 as well, even money for my luck. It's a double dog, Dylan. It's Brady Singer and the Kansas City Royals for me at plus 140. We've done it before with different results, let's put it that way. But we're going to get back on the horse tomorrow. We try not to mush each other. We'll see what Moonaf and Noah have come up with as well. But yeah, double dog for me. Well done, mate. That was fun. Busy trade deadline. Is it in the football, the EPL? Deadline day is it's a huge deal over here. All the channels cover it, and everyone sort of sits and count. There's a countdown timer, and all the football supporters are refreshing everything, waiting for their club to make a signing. Is that how MLB deadline day works there, or is it a little bit more under the radar?
Yeah, so ESPN definitely covers it a lot throughout the day, especially the last 2 days. And I know on MLB Network, on the top corner, there usually is a countdown to when the last teams can make a trade. But, in America, they overdo everything. So.
Yeah, we normally have a lot of our supporters will go down to the stadium or to the training ground sort of at 11 p.m. at night. And the poor journalists or the reporters are outside with a camera and a microphone, and they're just getting mobbed by drunken idiots who throw dildos at them and fucking all sorts. It's great. Like, mate, there's been some classic stuff goes on. Lane's just joined the chat when there's about 20 seconds to go in the broadcast, Lane. So hello, goodbye to you. Thanks everyone for listening. Good luck with your picks. Get across to sportsgamblingpodcast.com for all your information. Don't forget the Discord server. Hopefully your team made some trades that you're happy with, and you can get some winning bets on tomorrow. Thank you very much, Dylan. Thanks everyone for joining in the chat and the live streams. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, we will see you down the road.